Hi everybody. Welcome to Backseat Critique with Diamante Hagen and the Omega. Are you just gonna sit like that the whole entire thing?
You can't really tell on the camera, but my glasses are fogging up. It's like wearing that fucking Colonel Chestbridge mask.
I freed you.
Hello! Oh god, I'm like a baby and brain dead. Okay, we just saw, as you probably already guessed, we saw Blair Witch!
3.
And,
what was its subtitle?
Just Blair Witch.
Oh.
Because unlike the other one, this one's not a project. However, being a film in the cinema, it was projected. So this is the Blair Witch Project.
Mm-hmm. We didn't even get a Doctor Strange trailer.
Yeah. First film in ages that's happened. We did get a lot of adverts for sanitary pads, which is really weird.
Yeah.
They're like, the word witch is in the title, so they're like, oh, let's put all these ads in front of it.
Yeah, there was two different ads for sanitary products. There was one ad for a book about feminism in the workplace.
Yeah. Like, every single thing that has a woman in it, we'll put that in front.
And there was a Nissan advert. I don't know, maybe women drink Nissan.
But, okay. We both have a bit of a storied history with the Blair Witch films, because we're both old enough to remember when they first came out.
Should I go first?
Yes. Because, oh yeah, Omega, bit of a cold.
Hi. Well, so here's the thing. So, I went and saw Blair Witch Project. The first time I saw it, I was in uni for the first time, and I was at Shippensburg in central Pennsylvania. And me and my roommate, who was a townie, she was from the area, and our friend, for some reason we decided not to see it in Chambersburg. We drove down to Hagerstown, Maryland, which is actually about 20 miles away from Burkittsville. And so we saw it, and then we got out into the parking lots about midnight. My friend Brandy says, "Oh my god, I'm so glad that's like so far away from here." And then, so Jen, my roommate, looks at her and she goes, "You do realize it's like 20 miles down the road that way?" And then she screams, in the full parking lot full of Marylanders, "Oh my god, you guys, we have to get back to Pennsylvania. There's something wrong with the state." So then, I don't mind telling you, it was quite a tense 40-minute drive back, like, after midnight through woods and cornfields and rural towns. So that kind of heightened my ness about the film. And so the next night we went to see it again because Brandy's roommate Kim was doing a paper, so I think she was either doing a paper or she wasn't feeling well. That was the day that I got my tattoo, by the way, my first tattoo. So we saw it again, so Kim could see it. And I liked it, like, the first time, but I liked the last 5 minutes of the abandoned house the best because that's the part that really got me. And then when I got back from uni that summer, I went to see it for a third time with some of my friends, and I fell asleep during it. And literally the best part of the third viewing was we went to AMC, so we had little soft pretzel bites with the nacho cheese. So, that's my story.
My story's a bit less interesting.
Less nacho cheese.
Yes. I saw it when it first came out in VHS over here, probably early 2000s, 2001. And I will defend Blair Witch 1 to the end as a really good film. Probably, I mean, it's really weird in that you've got to put your mind into a weird Zen state you gotta forget that it's not real in order for it to work. If you remember that it's not real, it doesn't work at all. And that sort of leads into some of the issues with this one.
Found footage back before we were jaded.
Yeah, basically, but Blair Witch, unlike the other most of the other found footage films, because it was used completely original actors who you'd never seen before. It used really low budget tech. Everything about Blair Witch 1 screamed authentic. And okay, I like the Blair Witch so much that I will even to a limited extent defend Book of Shadows, simply because Book of Shadows Joe Berlinger was trying to do something very interesting with Book of Shadows. He was trying. The studio fucked it up. They made him film extra stuff. They re-edited it without him. They made it incoherent. They added bits of gore where what doesn't make sense. They messed around with the way that the order the film went out in. So basically, everything that went wrong with Book of Shadows, not the director's fault. It's the studio's fault. So that was my feelings about Blair Witch going into this new one.
Also, that was my first brush with viral marketing. And my friends at uni were totally like, oh, no, it's a real thing. They really got lost. I was like, no, it's not. We would have heard about this. Like, there would be, like, the FBI on the case. Like, we totally would have heard about this happening, this girl disappearing years ago. They're like, no, see, because I'm like, people can lie on the internet.
Yeah. Like, even years later, since it was revealed that, Blair Witch was definitely a hoax. And, people, pretty much everyone admits that. Even though some people still think there's some sort of demon thing up there, which, these guys invented all that.
Oh, let me Google these Black Hills Woods, because I know.
Even after all that, you got people come across random shit on the internet and are sure they're right, such as your classmate who's convinced about witches turning into birds and whatnot in Nigeria. Is it Nigeria or Uganda?
Nigeria.
So, yeah, it's ridiculous. But, okay, that's us going into Blair Witch 3. And everything that made the first one so above found footage.
There's a Black Hills National Forest in South Dakota and Wyoming.
Maybe it's a made-up forest.
The Black Hills National Forest is a national forest.
Yeah, but it's a different one from the...
Yeah, I know. Hold on.
Look up Burkittsville. It's a real town.
Hold on. Yeah, I know, but I'm looking Black Hills.
So, this one took everything authentic about the original, which was, you got... Everything about it was designed to make you feel like it was real. This one has none of that. You've got everything feels scripted, even the way it's edited together.
The only reference to the Black Hills Forest is coming from BlairWitch.wikia.com.
Oh, great.
Let me go to the Burkittsville, Maryland wiki site.
So,
wiki page. For
instance, the way they got these cameras here, they got regular cameras, they got like webcams everywhere. So you got cameras everywhere. Basically, this is a way so you can film it without, as much as possible, not film it like a found footage film, which makes it feel like a regular film. You got the quality of the footage. Maybe this is authentic quality for the type of equipment they had, and maybe this is okay for them to have that equipment. But again, it makes it feel like a regular film.
Yeah, but you could say that if she was a grad student in films,
yeah, it can be.
She might have had a grant for that.
Yeah, it can be explained away. However, subconsciously, it makes you feel like it's less real, which destroys. Found footage needs it to be felt like it's authentic for it to work.
Okay, let me see. Contrary to popular belief, however, the majority of the film was filmed not in Burkittsville, but in Maryland's Sakina Creek State Park, about 25 miles away. And the events depicted in the film and the legend of the Blair Witch itself are false. Furthermore, other potentially identifiable landmarks from the Blair Witch story, Coffin Rock, the Black Hills, Black Rock Road, and the local convenience store are found in the real Burkittsville or in the immediate surrounding area. A Black Rock Road, Black Hills, and the Blair High School, the interviewed girl mentioned, however, can be found in Montgomery County, Maryland, which is very possibly not a coincidence as Blair Witch filmmaker Eduardo Sanchez grew up there and is an alumnus of Montgomery College. But there is no other mention. Black Hills Woods. There is a Black Hills National Forest in South Dakota and Wyoming. So I think those woods are fabricated.
Okay, so
I'll keep looking. You keep talking.
You get all that. You even got like how the film is edited. You've got in the original one, you've got the two cameras between them. So you've got these two angles. That's all you've got. They're both people are holding them all the time, and so you have conversations like that, which feels more authentic than everyone. You've got all these different camera angles because you got at least like 6 different possible angles. It's also a problem with Sleep No More, the Capaldi found footage episode of Doctor Who, where they have like every dust particle is a camera.
Yeah.
It's like the point of found footage of movies is the severely restricted cameras. It doesn't work otherwise as a genre. You've got
your soda's on me. Sorry.
You've got in the editing, like in the original one, basically unless
it's like who edited it together.
Well, like the first one, whoever found it, or police or whatever, edited it together into a narrative afterwards for some reason. That's fine. But in the editing of the original one, everything extraneous is pretty much gone. With this one, you got like random bits where people are doing silly things that are completely unconnected. You've got like, one of the characters going off. You actually see him taking a piss and him talking to whoever's editing it.
And he realizes, oh shit, I'm still wearing a camera.
And it's like that just feels like a regular film. Found footage, it's a very particular genre, and you've got to do it a particular way for it to be good.
Right now, shortly after filming this vlog, both of them were never seen again.
And it's a really hard genre to get right, because You've got to you convince your audience it's real. You got to have a logical, explainable reason for why they're filming all the time and how. And so you've got to have a way for the footage to have been got. These three things you need to have a good found footage movie.
Well,
And
we've
that's
had
on
this
top
discussion
of-
before,
and that's on-
and every single one of our found footage we lost.
I know, and this one, basically, this is Blair Witch remade with obviously the
Extreme.
reference to the original one. But
Now with people of color. Yeah, a coworker that I worked with, an older black lady at the time, she asked me what Blair Witch was about, and I was like, well, it's kind of white kids get lost in the woods and die. And she was like, oh, okay. So I can't say that about this one because 2 black kids get lost in the woods and die too.
straight kids go to the woods and die.
No, they could be bi. You don't know.
Yeah, but probably straight. Statistically. Population
Yeah, but we don't know what the statistics are on bisexual folks.
identifies as bisexual is smaller than gay, I believe.
Oh, okay.
But
If you're bisexual, write the show. Actually, don't, because that'd be a lot of you, so we believe you.
I was saying something and I
Go
lost my
on.
thing. I've lost my train of thought. It was really important and interesting.
White kids get lost in the woods and die?
No, that was not it.
Was it before that?
Yes, Blair Witch is... This one is... Imagine Blair Witch, the Blair Witch Project, if it was remade today as a studio-based, traditional, as in not authentic looking, found footage movie. And that's what you've got.
Or maybe it's the fact we've just become so used to found footage.
No, the Blair Witch...
I've become used to found footage.
no, I don't think that's the... It might be a part of it.
I don't...
No, that's not the issue. I mean, that might be part of it, possibly, but just remember, Blair Witch, the original, was filmed for 25 grand. There was no music. It was done incredibly amateurly, but that was deliberate. Everything was off screen. It was designed to be real.
Yeah, I didn't like you heard those like the Bigfoot kind of noises in the throat.
Yeah,
And
and like this one, they reused some footage from the original, and they added random demonic screaming to it.
yeah.
Which wasn't in the original. They went back. They didn't just make a worse version of Blair Witch. They went back, retconned it to make it worse.
I don't know. The part that was filmed at the house, that was quite intense.
I mean, as like the thing guy did You're Next, which I saw with Robin, and everyone You're Next reviewed very well. Everyone seemed to like it. I thought it was okay. You know, there was Barbara Crampton was in it, but she didn't get topless.
Oh, that was that one that you guys were whinging about.
Mm-hmm. Not often we complain about not seeing a 60-year-old woman's breasts.
She said.
But, and so with this one again, I'm a little bit baffled by the amazing critical reception it got in the early days, whenever it was first revealed as, you know, not being the woods, or the whatever you call it.
The trailer was really good, though.
Yeah.
Really, like, well done.
Yeah, and there's a bit... And then there was always sort of hype for the end of the film when they go into the house and this sort of M.C. Escher-esque weirdness happens. It's like,
Well, it was
no.
very well... I liked that part because I like abandoned houses, and I thought that was very intensely filmed, although... excuse me, when she's in the tunnel, and when she's playing around with the reverse thing, those shots went on for far too long.
And the bit in the tunnel...
I was like, oh, come on, you...
I don't know if any of you have seen this, but that was basically the end of a British found footage film called The Borderlands, about these guys doing stuff involving a church
Keep on
and...
pushing my love over the borderlands.
Okay. But
It's a
in
Madonna
this
song
church,
I was making.
this church was based on the site of an old pagan temple, and they go into the basement and there's some weird shit going on, and it turns out actually...
Never go down the basement.
It turns out that actually, like, this Lovecraftian old one is sleeping. It is the ground that the church is built on. And when they're in the tunnels at the end, like this woman is sort of at the end, it's actually, they realise they're in its digestive tract.
That sucks.
Yeah, and then they die. I was just like, how the fuck did they get the footage out of that? That's almost as bad as Apollo 18.
It was like,
It shattered out, and it landed somewhere in Suffolk. But...
Is that a dig on Suffolk? Or you just picked that out of a...
That was random, but you
like,
can't... But, you know,
Suffolk, the place of
Suffolk does
demonic
suck.
house shit, probably.
But, well, you know, the demon was probably for Brexit.
Witty and topical. Zing.
You know, stuff in the house stuff is meant to be all like, oh my god, it's M.C. Escher-esque, it's mind-bending, it's mind. No, it used a light time travel, messing around with time, which, you know, I saw a lot of critics, people complaining about that, being like, where the fuck did time travel all come out of this? I'm like, dude, did you pay attention to the first one? The Rustin Parr house burned down in 1947, yet they found it before burning down, and after Rustin Parr was arrested.
Small spoilers, obviously. I thought the big reveal was going to be that they had gone back in time, and they were there the night that Heather and Matt were being killed. That's what I thought the big reveal was going to be.
I thought they probably were, but I think Heather and all were taken back in time as well. Or it would be like
a thing that you know, they thought that they were attacking the Blair Witch, but he's the one that sneaks up on and kills his own sister or something. That would have been really cool.
Yeah, that would have been cool. They would have had to get the original woman back, though. And she's a pot farmer now.
No, they could just, like, they wouldn't have to show it. He would have to, like, his camera would fall, be like, what? Heather! Oh my God! No! No, it happened on screen.
But, yeah, Heather and all that, if they, I'm pretty, okay.
Because they saw Matt standing in the corner.
I thought that was Peter.
I thought that was supposed to be Matt.
I don't know.
That's what made me think of it.
But that's a better ending than they had in the original.
I'm a genius, apparently.
They were Heather and all were put back in the house as well. So either this is like some sort of construct and it's not literally the house, or they've gone back to pre-1947.
They would have had to, because remember they were right next to the tree that was split by the lightning, where the guy said he found the tape.
Yeah. Which
brings up an interesting predestination paradox, I said.
Yeah, because the footage that makes them go in there, it's actually the woman who's holding the camera that is mistaken for Heather. So it's they sent themselves.
Aye.
And in the original one, it's got this weirdness with time, which this one sort of, a lot of people apparently missed that, and so this one they're like, what the fuck's going on? This one is like, no, there's time travel, and then there's the one element I liked in this, completely alien to mainly alien from the original, was the fact that they got separated off, and then it'd been like 5 days for someone else.
Yeah.
That was good.
I really wanted to know more what the deal was with Lane and Talia. Like, you know, like, because I have the feeling that he had seen them die before, because he says, like, well, oh, no, it's a trick, they're not alive. And he's like, no, I'll prove it. When's the last time you saw us?
Possibly.
But then you see him with a fuller beard later.
I think what I think was that since he came across them, I think he's noticed like totems or something and he knows that the witches sort of marked them. And the witches chosen them, because in the original one of the.
I just want to know what the deal was with them.
Well, he was working for the witch. I don't know if he started working for them for her.
He was at the end, but I don't know if it was at the beginning.
I don't know when he did start. When he started,
possibly. She wasn't. His girlfriend wasn't.
Yeah, what happened to her? Like, these huge sections where we don't know what the fuck happens to the characters. Like, there's this bit where this woman screams at someone else, and this other one sort of bends backwards.
No, because she broke the... She got angry at the girl. She said, oh, you set this up again, took the doll and broke it, and then Talia was, like, broken on the ground. So it was like a juju kind of thing.
Okay. Talia, who...
played by a girl with purple hair.
Yeah, I spent the entire film... Like, well, I sort of mixed between... Talia, that's a very rural Maryland name, yes. And,
Talia
holy shit, she looks like Zoe Quinn.
No, Zoe Quinn looks older than her.
It's the purple hair. It's just that shade of purple hair.
Also, like, when they first meet up with this guy and his girlfriend, they're, like, in a house share with some other folks, and there's, like, this big, huge Confederate flag on the wall, and everyone's like, this is really uncomfortable. They're like, we want to come with you. And the black guy's like, no.
But opposite that, they had an American flag, too. So, it's like they're recreating the Civil War in their living room.
Maybe.
I
just want to know what the deal was with those two.
Blair Witch people, yokels.
Rural Maryland. I mean, I lived in the Baltimore metro suburbs, so I can't ever say I, like, drove through rural Maryland all that much. You know
the scariest thing about Burkittsville? It's only about 15 miles away from the much more frightening Frederick, Maryland.
Frederick is... I have friends that live in Frederick, Maryland.
Frederick? Oh, you know why it's scary?
Yes, because they filmed Elfman.
Yes, they filmed Elfman there.
Oh! Well,
I'm never going to forgive myself for, the fact that I would visit you in Baltimore, and I never thought to be all like, let's go to where the Blair Witch is at. Why
would we do it? It would be an hour's drive. It's near the Pennsylvania border.
Yeah, I'd be curious. Remember, we went to the Quick Stop in, New Jersey.
As we were there.
We had to drive about 20 minutes to get there.
Yeah, 20 minutes is more than several hours, miss. Oh, it's a 40-minute drive. We better make sure we have enough provisions for the journey.
Plus, I know we hadn't actually seen Elfman there, but we could have visited Frederick as well, and I would have been
Frederick
like,
is
the
not
combs.
exciting.
The combs. But the main black guy.
The beginning scene where they were playing around with the drone was not filmed in the state of Maryland. And I was like, that was not filmed in Maryland. And she was like, how do you know? Because in the state of Maryland, all cars must have a license plate on the front and back of the vehicle.
Well, so they drove from a nearby state.
They drove from another state, like for example, Pennsylvania.
Because we don't know where Heather came from originally.
That's true, we don't.
The guy Peter, the black guy.
My favorite character.
I think, I'm not entirely sure what this is exactly, but he reminded me of what Malcolm Ray from Nostalgia Critic would be like if he was a main character in a horror film.
Okay, I guess I can see that.
Yeah, so.
It's kind of bad, like, that, you're in another country where, so your man Peter was having trouble putting his tent together, and it kind of very, like, the girlfriend was like, what have you done? He's like, I've got it, I'm handling this,
oh, dear.
God damn it, fuck, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, when you can't get something to work, which I think was more of, like, his character being like, I'm a city boy, I don't camp. She leans over, she goes, is there a stereotype in America about black people not camping? And I was like, no, that's a new one. I don't think I've ever heard that one. She's like, oh, okay, I couldn't tell if it was being racist or not.
Yep, because I'd never seen any American media about camping that involves black people, except maybe a single episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So everything else was about white people.
Anyone can go camping.
So I was just wondering, is camping
a
white
suburbs.
thing?
I didn't even camp all that much. It's an American thing. We've got land. You might as well.
America is weird.
I mean, like,
We don't camp.
It's not that... see, I just don't know that many people who camp on a regular basis. So I can't say, oh, I don't know any black people that camp, because I don't know many people that camp.
See...
if you're black and you're camp, write the show.
Culturally...
I mean, like, I haven't been camping since I was a Girl Scout.
Camping over here is entirely different. Like
a miserable experience because it's wet everywhere.
Well, camping is basically you've got...
In a caravan?
Well, a lot of people go in caravans, yes, which is basically like a holiday trailer park.
It's a vacation over here. It's considered a vacation to go sit in a trailer in a field.
Beside the ocean.
Beside the ocean in a trailer park with everybody else. I was like, oh, it's a holiday at the caravan. I'm like, no, you're in a trailer park. That's not a holiday.
My family's never done that.
Okay.
But camping over here, you ever seen Zombie Genocide, like my review of it?
It's like that.
Well, at the start, you got a bunch of Northern Irish people camping, and they are literally camping in a public park.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So, yeah, I mean, occasionally we'd camp.
I think the biggest danger camping in Northern Ireland is you might accidentally stumble upon the set, one of the sets being used for Game of Thrones and ruin a take.
Yeah. I mean, whenever I was growing up, I knew people who camped in their back garden or in the golf course. And that's it.
Isn't that trespassing?
Do you think that we gave a shit about trespassing laws that might or might not exist involving a golf course? It's like, it's right beside our woods, we wander around the golf course.
Yeah, but like, wouldn't the golf company be like, hey, you kids, get out
There are patches of little bits of woods inside the golf course that are used as traps for the balls, and so we would go out and hang around inside there where you can't be seen.
Oh my god.
You wander all around the golf course as well. You go
That's
for walks.
This is why you should have had a Nintendo as a child.
Because
do you know what they did? Tell them what you did.
What did I do?
The Prehen Corps of Engineers.
Oh, you say.
Her and her friends, what they did when they were young. While other kids were out engaging in vandalism, drunken antics, and sports and Nintendo in my country, would get together and, carry out incredible, feats of engineering to reroute the course of the small creek that runs through the woods. And I was like, really? You did that? Yeah, we would have made it go over there, and then we built an earthen dam. You were basically a wee corps of engineers. Well, yes.
It was a summer project.
I was playing Legend of Zelda over my next door neighbor's house.
Even it's not just limited to kids running around.
We were playing construction sites. Okay.
It's not just limited to kids running around golf courses. Old men take their dogs for walks on the golf course.
I thought it was gonna go somewhere really bad. Old men hang out in the woods there too. Hoping to run into us kids.
And, teenagers drink a lot and, wrecking stuff.
Teenagers drinking a lot, I can understand. But you guys just kind of no one can see you, so you skulk around and watch people golf. So anyway, the Blair Witch.
Yeah, it basically turned everything up to 11, and it did some very elementary messing with time.
Well, there was the there was a potential for some really cool stuff with the drone, but they didn't use the drone much, and then it crashed. And you're like, wow.
Yeah, and then
So that was like your real commercial drone. We didn't do much with it, and then it crashed.
And then the poor woman, she's got a infected foot, weirdness, body horror shit's going on.
Yeah, I
that's
had to close my eyes into that. I don't.
And then she decides, she finds the drone up the top of a really tall tree, so she decides to climb up after it.
Not like, get a stick and bat at it until it falls, which is what I would have.
She did it with her hands and sort of leant over, and it was like, this cannot end well.
And it fell the fuck out the tree.
And then she was dragged away. And the witch apparently is
Now it's
this naked
huge.
creature with long arms, although when they said they hung her up in the tree and they stretched her arms, so okay, maybe that's a representation of the torture. But I noticed what I think was continuity issues with the original one, because
say.
in this one they say Rustin Parr was hanged in the woods.
Yeah, he was like basically
he
lynched
wasn't.
outside his house.
No, he wasn't. He was arrested after... He walked into town after killing the kids, said he's finished now. He was arrested. There's interviews with him on Curse of the Blair Witch, which was a television special, which was released around the same time as the first film, basically to draw up attention. And it's available on the DVD, and you can probably see it on YouTube. And you have interviews with him talking about what he did, and I believe he was executed in a jail.
By the state.
Yeah, he was not hanged, and...
See, I think that might be that Lane and Talia were lying.
Or they don't know their shit. There was like little things like that. They're like always talking about whether it was the basement or the attic, and it's like, no, they know where he killed the kids.
It could have been a well actually situation by someone who doesn't know something. It could be a Dunning-Kruger kind of thing. It's like, well, actually, because your man saw someone's YouTube video that says, oh, this is what everyone says happened, but I found no evidence whatsoever, but I'm going to make a conspiracy theory movie
Well,
about
what
it.
he said was there's debate about that. And it's like the way
on one internet forum.
the way he worded it sounds like they really don't know. Instead of just saying his opinion different or claiming it's something else.
Yeah, but he basically actually the film.
I know, it was like
Mr.
In the-
Confederate flag.
in the original one, since Parr was went down, he killed the last kid, and then he walked down. They went into his house. They tore the place up. They investigated. They know where he killed the kids. There's no debate over that. But in this version, since Heather and all were in the basement in the original, and these guys are in the attic, so these ones ended up in the attic. So maybe that was a reference to that. I don't know.
I don't know, like the whole thing now all of a sudden is, oh, if you ever see her, you will die immediately.
Which is ridiculous. Does that mean that the guy who wasn't Josh in the original one, did he survive because he put his head in the corner? Why? And in this one they're like, oh,
no, because it becomes a thing. Like, how do you get out without turning around? So eventually, it's like, what's her face?
She was trying to do a Theseus thing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
And then she was attacked by the other one, and it's like, why are you going to the corners? What?
No, it tricked her. The witch tricked her by using James's voice and saying, "I'm so sorry." So she turned around. So either it was James being controlled to kill her, or it was the witch using James's voice to trick her into turning around.
Yeah, but when did this? If you see the witch, you die.
I don't know. It just becomes a thing.
When did that happen
at the
as
end,
a thing?
At the end, when James said, "Oh, if you see her, you die," I'm like, that never became a thing.
When was that established? He just said that at the end.
Aye.
In the originals, that wasn't the thing. You didn't actually see the witch in the original. And oh, by the way, in the extended sort of universe stuff, the poor woman who became the Blair Witch, she wasn't actually a witch.
Well, they were talking about it, and they're like, "Oh, they hung her out to die of exposure." And they came back in the spring, and her body was gone, mysteriously gone. I mean, it could have been scavengers, like all of these scavenger type animals that are present on the East Coast, in the early 1800s. But and I was like, or like a Native American, band could have come across and be like, "Jesus Christ, here, we'll cut you down. Oh my God, what happened?" And she's like, "Oh, the people did it. They thought that I was a witch." Like, those fuckers, this has gone on far too long. We will help you exact your revenge. And they're like, and people started to disappear one by one. Like, I'm envisioning like a brave in the woods. It's like, right there. Another one jumps up, grabs the body away.
I really wish
I'd watch that movie.
I really wish they hadn't done
The
this
White
as a
Squaw's Revenge.
I really wish they hadn't done this as a found footage film, because if you
And
read
literally, how else could you do it? I guess there's a regular.
very easily, like there's different ways. The makers of the original said that until Book of Shadows basically fucked up the basically Batman and Robin thing, they had all these ideas for other films they wanted to do, and they sounded great. Because they wanted Blair Witch Project to be the only found footage one. They didn't want to do another found footage. They had this idea they were going to do a movie about the witch herself, Ellie Kedward, which was going to be basically hyper realistic, filmed like Barry Lyndon, all in natural light, and everything as really as 1800s as possible. And this woman who was probably innocent gets driven away and basically joins up with or is killed by, and then her image is taken by this like Native American demon thing,
Like
and it was
Wendigo.
something like that. And then it was going to be. Basically, they said it was going to be very similar to how The Witch that came out earlier this year. And it's like, oh, fuck, that would have been brilliant. And they wanted to do a movie about Rustin Parr, which was basically going to be a noir 40s like serial killer movie involving him, discovering him and sort of finding him, investigating stuff. That would have been great. And then they mentioned they had 2 ideas for an actual sequel. They each had a sequel because there's 2 guys who did the first one. One was basically let's do Aliens to Blair Witch's Alien, which is they wanted to somehow convince a bunch of military people to try and kill the witch, which is like that would have been probably so terrible but awesome. I mean, I want to see a Hellraiser film like that. And the other one was let's investigate the historian guy who was teaching Heather in the first one, who I suggested that she goes to the Black Hills.
This is such a good idea. You probably should do it.
Because the other director was like,
there'll probably be presents and.
Spoilers,
there will be presents.
The other director was like, okay, I think there was something dodgy going on with him. And it's like, oh God, we've got fucked so much by Book of Shadows. By the fucking studio. Like, Joe Berliner, he did something that wasn't the other guys didn't want to do. He was basically trying to make a commentary on horror media and real life. And like, because he hated the first one because it convinced people it was real. When it was a horror film, he thought that was really, really terrible because he's a professional and award-winning documentary maker. This
is not how you documentary. I'm angry.
So yeah, the idea
documentary smash.
The idea of a actively fake documentary convincing people that something was not real was real really irritated him.
So like, he never saw This Is Spinal Tap then.
Well, that's a comedy. With this one, they were trying to convince it was real. That was the point of Blair Witch. It only works if you think it's real. So the Book of Shadows, which was not supposed to be called Book of Shadows, the studio added that, even though there's no fucking Book of Shadows. It was meant to be his commentary on that, of what happens if you sort of blur reality and fiction. And so you got these ones who are obsessed with the book, with the film, go to the place, investigate it, and they start losing their minds. And then the studio added all this extra gore that made no sense. They added a bunch of... They made it so like it was disjointed, it was out of order, so the big reveal happened like near the start. It made no fucking sense. And then they, like, some of the ideas he was doing to like merge reality and fiction, where he put all of these little references to famous horror films into the film in big or little ways in order to show that the people, their grasp on what is real and what is horror movie is blurring. Right. So that's why it was so generic. It was deliberate. Like, there was crazy dogs in some bits because it was like The Omen. There was a bit with a woman dancing around a pole because it was like Evil Dead. There's these little... Good Bad Flicks has a really good video documenting just how bad we got fucked with Blair Witch 2. And
I didn't get fucked.
Well, if you saw Blair Witch 2... I mean, it robbed us of the potentially good prequels.
I am unfuckable.
There was the...
By Blair Witch 2.
It robbed us of the potential prequels and stuff like that they could have done, because the other was such a big success. If Book of Shadows had made money or been okay, we would have had a lot of films.
That's true.
It's like,
it would have been a real film. See, I feel kind of bad because there's this guy that I work with, and he's mentioned wanting to see it, and today at the till he's like, "Have you decided when you're going to go see it?" We're like, "We're going to see it tonight." He's like, "Oh, I'll have to give me a full review tomorrow," and I'm like, "That was all right." Sorry, I didn't like it. It was all right.
And
we didn't even get popcorn. But we went to Weatherspoons and got a burrito beforehand, so I'm fine with that.
So yeah, you see me giving this, very, very impassioned defense of what Joe Berliner was trying to do with Blair Witch. I don't know if it would work 100%. I mean, his director's cut has never been released. However, someone edited it together based on what he said in the commentary and based on notes that were found.
Yeah, notes that were found footage edit.
Yeah, so they have basically edited together what his version as close as possible. And apparently it's available online somewhere, but I have not managed to find a copy of it, but I would be fascinated to see it.
If you're the director, write the show. So yeah. It was short, too. It felt very short.
Well, Blair Witch 1 was only 78 minutes.
I guess it just seemed longer. I guess it seems longer than watching people do boring things.
Yeah, this one's just like, oh, exciting, loud shit is happening all the time.
It
Like
was not a
giants
slow
running
burn.
around. Yeah.
Like, you know how, you know, in a horror movie, everything is normal. It's great. What was that? Oh, probably nothing. Wait, what was that? Oh, it's probably nothing. Things, it's like a slow burn, and all of a sudden, shit's gotten real. Things collapse like right away.
Yeah.
Like reality, like because there's always that pretense of reality's fine, everything is grand, right? And then that just crumbles all to shit in the climax. But things crumbled immediately, and I was actually pretty surprised how quickly things crumbled.
Blair Witch 1.
And I'm like, you know, could you not have brought, like, they have all this money for all this technology. Could you not have brought a satellite phone? Could you not have, you know, brought something that, since you know you're going somewhere with no cell signal, that you could dial 911? Because the main character, one of the main characters, James, was an EMT. Like, he practices emergency medicine on someone, although he doesn't sterilize the wound very much, and he seems shocked that his lady's like, it's infected. And if she's feverish and she's, like, getting delirious, that's not all. We need to take her to an ER tomorrow morning. You need to call 911. You need a medevac. So that kind of annoyed me, that they didn't have, you know, the ability to call 911.
Yeah. I'm like, Blair
911, what's your emergency? Witch!
Because I rewatched Blair Witch 1 and The Curse of the Blair Witch, you know, a couple of days ago while I was editing something, you know, in preparation for this, because it's been a long time since I watched it. I didn't watch Book of Shadows, though, which I wanted to, but I couldn't.
It's been since 2000, so it's been 16 years since I've seen anything Blair Witch related.
Yeah,
oh my god, I'm old.
I couldn't find my copy of Book of Shadows to rewatch that. But Blair Witch 1 had either one or two scares, depending on how you define scares. I mean, the bit with Josh, you know, there's...
Tell me why you watch.
You know, there's bits which are clearly scares-ish, but everything is building up.
It's a slow burn.
It's like Ring, the original Japanese Ring, in that way. Like the bit where Josh sort of got in you find the package which has his pieces in it. You've got that, and you've got the bit right at the end. Like the stuff outside where they're like running around and going, what the fuck is that? It's not really... That's a sort of scare that doesn't jolt and make you sort of... and bring you down again.
Well, I mean...
The jump scare is like, you got, okay, tension gone.
Yeah.
With that sort of scare, it's like the tension's still building then. Because it's never... well,
it kind of was weird because, I mean, like if you've spent a lot of time out in the woods with a flashlight, and as a Girl Scout, I have, like, you do kind of start to psych yourself out a wee bit, at least we did. And then, like, it's really bad because, I will let you in on this. Like, so when you're a Girl Scout, you have to practice, like, the buddy system. So you can't even go into the latrine by yourself. And it's, like, really, really creepy trying to pee into, like, an open-air latrine. Like, it's basically like a shed with a toilet seat, and there's a pit underneath. And, like, you're trying to pee on, like, basically, like, a mound, like, a pit of horror, while someone is sitting outside waiting for you to finish peeing. And then there could be a monster. So that's what I was thinking of the whole time. One time, this one girl accidentally dropped her flashlight down the latrine. It was, like, shining out of the toilet hole. That was pretty funny. Highbrow comedy, folks. That's us.
It's not as bad as Book of Shadows, but it didn't reach for notoriety like Book of Shadows or the original.
If you hadn't seen the first one and you're young, you probably will enjoy this, quite honestly.
Yeah, the first one, it is really hard to get into the headspace to watch it. You've got to really convince yourself that it's real somehow.
You must understand that's how it was for us back in the day. The early days of found footage.
It's a bit like the experience of... If you ever watched someone's POV shot of being in a roller coaster, the way that if you're watching
but you watch them on YouTube all the time.
Occasionally. But if you make them the full screen and you try to sort of observe only the thing that's on the screen.
You can do it if you're drunk.
And I can do it if I'm not drunk. I mean, I can sort of like get into the
one time you showed me one and I was drunk and I was like, I can't watch this because my brain is starting to react as though it's real. So
it's the same sort of trick with Blair Witch. You've got to
make it full screen in your browser.
You've got to convince yourself it's real. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And this one, it doesn't help convince you it's real, which is one of the great flaws of found footage films.
So we've talked for about 40 minutes about that. Yeah. Are you ready to let it go?
I hope there's more
Are you ready
sequels.
to let it go, honey?
I hope Myrick and Sanchez get to do their prequels. That would be great. I mean, I've seen a couple of their films that weren't Blair Witch, and they weren't terribly good, but I want to see what they do.
Maybe.
The Witch was really good. Go see The Witch. Well, buy
Don't get it
on
on
DVD.
DVD.
Yeah.
Bye,
You can just
guys.
pretend it's a Blair Witch prequel.
We're going away now. Bye. Oh, sad.